Semi-finals, Gumfaction on attack, PaellaOldSchool on defense. Let's dive into the units. I'm very curious to see what we're gonna get. Flamers are allowed in this one, so expecting those definitely for the defense. Very curious to know what you guys will be seeing here. So hit me up when we get the units.
Okay.
Well, let's see. Tell me, guys, what are you seeing?
Building siege engines. That's what I see.
Definitely a lot of fortes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of 40s. Oh, very interesting. Shield maiden bias on the defenders here from PaellaOldSchool.
I'm pretty heavy
Quite
on
a
the
few
Javelin
of
as well.
them.
Triple Javelins there on Paella's
Interesting, you
side.
don't see Reapers anymore.
Yeah, it just jumped with the Reaper. But you're right, we saw a lot of Reapers last week. Yeah,
Yeah.
It
big
did.
change there.
Quite a few VGs on the side of the attackers, as well as a couple, quite a few Shenjis.
Yeah, quite so. I feel like we got a very different lineup on, especially the attack. The defense, I think we saw more from what we saw last week. So the Fortebraccio, of course, there. Also the Flamers, and then the Javelins a bit more maybe. But yeah, I think really going to make use of that high ground there.
Interestingly enough, they're not going with a lot of cap today on either team.
Yep, definitely interesting. Yeah, you would kind of expect some cataphracts, right? With the Hussars being gone, but none of that.
Cataphracts, or at least Liaos. Something that's fast moving. That's well, not a shield maiden, but
yep.
I guess the meta's sort of evolved to a point. I see one Liao, a Chevy, and two monastics. Actually, that's it.
Yep. Yeah, we
there's
can.
a second Chevy.
And we can also see Pella already retreating to the base point. We're just going to focus on the base point a bit, so you have time to talk about the map now, Grease, if you want. Gumfaction, meanwhile, is going to take the A point already. Gumfaction in the red, of course. So, Grease, what do you want to tell us about this map?
I can tell a defense between B and C. It's pretty hard to establish. Even if you're gonna win the first push, the the attackers respawn at the gate, so you won't be able, as a defender, you won't be able to respond fast enough, so you will lose eventually. So I don't think any of the team will try to defend between B and C. I think both teams gonna focus and take the wall as fast as possible, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm curious how they will the attackers will be able to get the cav on the final point.
That will definitely be interesting.
Interesting to see.
Yeah, this is what I want to show. So you guys can't see my screen. I'll change it in a bit, but we're seeing the Fortebraccio Imperial shields already in the center tower, and I think this point is going to be very pivotal in the final defense here.
Yeah, that central tower is pretty hard to engage as an attacker, especially if you have if the defenders have flames there. So they will need to find another way to rotate and make them move, because the rotation from the wall to the gate, it's pretty hard to do. Okay.
And the first kill goes down.
Yeah, once again to the Stepbros. They've been playing so aggressively last week, and they're on fire again.
Didn't saw the first kill.
Yeah. Right, we're gonna have to keep up now. Slow start, of course, is kind of expected, as you mentioned, Grease. It's really hard to defend. We saw the Endgegner trying to do it, and the BSC point, we also saw you guys doing it. Also, what we've seen a lot is the attackers actually going for like full hero push to find the Flamers and the Shenji in the Zekalian. Not sure. I think Pella or Gumfaction are looking for it, but it's going to be really hard with how much is there.
Okay, you see they trying to get the wall, but I'm not sure they will.
Okay, yeah, holding in. Holding inside of that watchtower is going to be an interesting play. It will be not so easy for them to just walk on by down those stairs. But it seems like they're pulling off and rotating to get some new units.
Yep, they might. I think. Yeah, Pelle definitely has to find a different way to get in, unless they really want to brute force it. They are moving up with all of them now, though. Yeah, they're going for it. Let's see where they're going. Oh, nice push off there. 2 heroes went down.
Yeah.
They're pushing out as well. There's only a unit of javelins though to get there for them from them. Yep.
They will kill some coconuts, some Jeff Sergeants, and I think. Okay. Wing Crow is going into the shield, into the. Okay.
I mean, oh, they are actually going up the bottom side of the tower here, going in from behind, probably trying to target down those
flames, but it's pretty hard there.
Yeah, they're on the flames though, but still all of them alive, I think.
Yeah, all of them alive
all of them
right
going
now.
up.
I'm sure they've taken some damage though with those musket bombs.
Yeah, 18 javelins lost, so that's a pretty good hit. But 7 out of 7 flamers still alive, I think. At least one of them.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, they took out the full unit of Zyclean, yeah.
Exactly, that's a big hit.
And some Jeff Sergeants, like half of unit.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing else for Gumfaction, so small wins here, but it's a long game, right? 20 minutes, so Gumfaction have time to rinse and repeat for a little bit here.
Well, they have 15 minutes to go about whatever they want to do, really.
Yeah, so great. So why do you think it is that we haven't seen any team go in from the right side? We saw Pelle as being the only team who once went in from the right side after you guys, against you guys actually, but other than that, no team has tried the right side.
Yeah, well, Pelle tried the right side after we moved, because we kind of lose the fight under the bridge, and we needed all team there to counter them, and we left the right side undefended, so that's why they managed to. And when we pushed them really bad, like 1 by 1, and yeah, that's how we lost the final push.
Yep, quite so.
But the right side, it's pretty hard to get in. I mean,
it seems like they're prepping for an engage here on the stairs. They have 1, 2, 3 units of shield maidens, some VGs and some claymores here, couple javelins as well.
Okay,
but
sending some cav to the right side, some cataphracts I saw.
Oh, and Gorka actually going for the Shenji that were sent to the supply here. Really nice from him. He's picking up a couple. Gonna get return killed though.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Alright, big rotation now to the right side actually.
They have plenty of time. I mean.
Hey, and this guy was saying they never push the right side.
Yeah, there we go. Costa cursed it, I think. Or is it a fakey?
It is a bit of a fakey here.
Fakey. They just wanted to move them a bit.
Yeah, exactly right.
Side.
And this is where the center tower is so critical.
Yes, they're gonna take the wall now. But they need to hurry.
Yeah,
the flamers are
they don't have
here. They're not in position.
Now is the time to push, man.
Wheat's flamers are still on the way. They need to go right now, but they're waiting.
Man, if they don't hurry up a bit.
Yeah. Alright, flamers are in position now, and now is when they're pushing.
Just a little bit too long, but they do just walk on by.
They're getting a lot. Oh, they're baiting them, trying to get them out there with the trap.
Yeah, but
that's going to be a dangerous trap.
Yes.
Again, someone ripping down as well. Woo.
That's a few shields down, definitely damaged.
Yep, absolutely. Got control of the wall. They can now decide if they want to go in though. That might be hard here.
They need a shield to block that the tower.
Yep.
I don't see the shields anywhere.
Exactly, and also the javelins are like doing a lot of work now. They're going back to the supply, throwing your jets in as well. Oh, they're pushing hard now.
Oh, they're pushing the tower. Oh man.
And those VGs are just breaking on through, just pushing through any defense. Shield maidens on shield maidens being taken out. The Fjord Brachio cannot hold up to this. That's going to be a full wipe in the tower there.
Yeah, it's going to be another nice trebuchet on the javelins as well. Also, Pelio are trying to flank in, but they decided otherwise because they just couldn't get there.
Backcapping.
Yeah.
Now it'll be interesting to see. Do they push down the tower, or do they decide to push down
No,
these
they
stairs
actually
here?
reinforced the tower.
They did.
Ooh,
Yeah,
suicide trap though. Okay, last time got picked up with his shield maidens. Ooh, nice trap though here. The
Okay, we
reinforcements
see some
need-
cav. We see some cav on the point now.
Yep.
Maybe they can get. Oh, he turned the fortress right on time.
That's
Actually
a
stopped
lot
the
of
cav.
units taken out. A lot of gold units taken out with a lot of actually cheaper purple units.
Yep.
That's an unfortunate sight to see. Someone they're surely not happy about seeing.
Absolutely. And it looks like the map is resetting a little bit, although they're still fighting really hard for that center point. Stalwart's blocking it currently.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, that guy retreated the Reapers. I'm not sure what happened there.
Alright, so we're back, so let's check out who lost what, because a lot of units died actually on both sides, I think.
I think there's quite a few
Definitely
shield maidens on the
attackers.
attackers here.
Attackers lost more,
Yeah.
definitely. But now they got the tower, they got the wall,
Yeah,
so
exactly. The
they're
Elia
ready for
reset the right side, but not the center tower, so that's free now. Right, what are we seeing with the
Okay.
units on the attack and defense?
let's see if Paella have any flames left. Okay, I don't see. I see one unit of Senji.
3
see
units
any
changes on
flames.
the defenders.
2 units. Yeah, 3.
3 units, yeah.
Okay, so no flames.
No flames on the defenders, no.
One unit of flames on the attackers though, and also one unit of Shenji as well.
The thing
Ooh,
here is
look at the flank. Someone trying to flank with the shield maidens. It's gonna be tricky. That's Gorka once again.
I think I know how Paella is gonna play this. They're gonna let them get on point, fight them a bit, and they're gonna get the cab out. They
Gorka. He does make it out with quite a few
yeah.
of the shield maidens, though. He's going for these aggressive plays.
yeah.
Speaking of aggressive plays, they're pushing up onto the top ramps here, sort of keeping them confined to this tower. It's going to be interesting to see where they decide to push now.
Have plenty of time.
Yeah, they're really baiting all the traps out, I think. Ooh, good hit on the Shenji.
I just got a couple of them.
2 of them, yeah.
Not something you want to see.
Look at this big blob hiding there. Oh, yeah, they're throwing the bombs. But of course, like the resupply is really close, right? So they can heal at any time.
Definitely not as many archers this week as the last one.
Yep, that's true as well.
Okay. Senji throwing, but I think it's just a waste there.
Yeah, that damage is not gonna stick. Not sure if there's any longsword in there, but
Okay,
even
they're
that...
pushing
yep,
from
they're
the bottom of the tower now. But only like 5 heroes. Now it's not very coordinated.
I think they're just trying to bait them out. Once again, you can see the trap is coming in for expecting a rotation here.
If Paella push them there, they're gonna wipe. Okay. Okay, actually Paella retreating on the main gate. Told you they let them go on point, then they're gonna fight them.
Yep.
They are getting a big push along the backside into these Shenjis down here, as well as some Zyclean onto the main point. They're not really having advantageous engagements on the front side, getting flanked around with some shield maidens by weeds. So
Okay, Cav is coming now. Cav is
back.
coming now. See? Some monastics, Liaos. Okay, more Cav, some more monastics.
Yeah, they're getting cleaned up in the back. And that front side push is getting pretty decimated as well. It's not going to be a good sight for the attackers here. Oh, no.
The side gate is clear though, so you can see Shizuka Lannister now coming in with his berserkers. He's trying to maybe get a position there.
Yeah, it's too late.
So the question now is how quickly can Gumfaction respawn and actually find a new position. They need to get control of that center tower again or
You
the
see,
right side.
And they
now
do
it's
lose
the
all
time.
those
Now it's the
Shenjis
time
on the
to
wall.
take main gate. Now
Yep.
is the time to take main gate because
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
clear. But
And you can actually see they also Gumfaction has to recap that side supply, so some of their heroes can't even get a new unit out, so they're a bit slower on the rotation now. PaellaOldSchool already going to that side gate as well.
At this point, it's gonna be difficult for them to push in. They really only got one push left in them with the units they have. A few of their heroes don't even have that great of units left. A lot of cav allocated for this final push. It's gonna have to be aggressive. They're gonna have to go in hard and fast.
Absolutely, and the unit difference is huge. So look at the top, it's 500 for Gumfaction, 830 for PaellaOldSchool here. But Paella really showing their veterancy on this map, I think.
I don't know how this is gonna turn out. At least in the second match here, I can make a pretty good prediction on this first match right now, especially with all the cav they have out. Though there's not a ton of anti-cav. It's, I guess, 3 units of 40s, which should be 4 units of 40s. Actually, never mind. There is quite a bit of anti-cav out, especially with all this cav allocated right now. Oh no.
yeah, they have one more push, but one more push can be enough. I mean, if they play it perfectly.
Exactly. Yeah, they still got like only strong units, right? It's the high leadership that everyone is having, so it's definitely 3 really good pushes. All 3 javelins still out and Zicalian as well, so all these units that are going to move in are going to get damaged a lot before actually reaching the point. Nice trap though, I think.
Gonna see a trap on the.
Yep. Like just look at these javelins going. That's gonna hurt. If they can find those flamers and those Shenji in between that blob, that's going to be really good.
Okay, they still holding the cav.
Yeah, they are capping.
Most of the cav in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
Just look at
Trying
how
to get the
patient Paella
advantage.
is. Yeah.
Trying to get the advantageous positioning here. You don't want to be fighting down those stairs. When you're fighting down those stairs, it gives the attackers a bit of an advantage, but they're letting them come in here a little bit onto the home point just to squeeze them out. And here comes the cav in.
They got the Fortunato block though. I think they maybe Paella gave him a bit too much space here. Look at that cav getting eaten. Also on the other side.
Yeah.
Good trap here as well.
yeah, they hold them for a bit on the stairs, but now Paella is gonna advance from the final point.
Yeah, really good hold from Paella still on the final point. We see the Liao coming in, but they cannot get in because the Modao and Kurak both on the point. And Paella is actually getting back on that small stairs there.
They are getting in a little bit of cav on the backside here. The Fjord Brachio's aren't turned to face them. But
they have
they
Modaos
don't want to
and
get into
Fortress,
that
I mean.
slog.
The cav just got obliterated on the point.
Yeah, that's not going to be a fun scenario for them.
Yep, that was just too many.
I think this might be the end of the map here. We have a little bit of unit supremacy, 162 units left. And I think most of those are peasants.
Yep, only 160 left all of a sudden. That was like 350 units lost there for Gumfaction. All of them dying. Only 3 heroes alive now. There goes another one. That's 2. This game, 2.5 minutes on the clock. Definitely done so. Unless they do like an insane throw here at this supply, which we saw from Endgegner last week. But I don't think it's gonna happen. Not with this few units left. Interesting defense, guys. Since we've got so much time on our hands as well, this was very convincing from Paella. Were you expecting any of this?
Yeah, I expected this to happen, to be honest.
Of course, Jetter, the first to leave the game, as you expect.
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, so Gumfaction knowing it's over, they just want to get ready for their second game. Makes sense. They're gonna have to defend now. PaellaOldSchool on match point. Remember, it's only 2. If you win 2 games, you're through. So very curious to see if Paella actually have a strat for the attack that will break open this map, because it looks very, very hard. right now?
Okay, after the first game, I don't think we're gonna see a draw, to be honest.
Yeah, it does kind of look like, compared to last week, that these teams have, at least Paella has actually figured out how to play this map. So we'll see.
They're pretty strong. They're aggressive. They're a different team that played in the first games this season.
Yep, absolutely right.
Now, I remember you telling me last week that this map is a bit attacker-sided, if anything. I don't know. I'm gonna have to start questioning you here.
Me too. So exactly like
Is
last
it
week.
cast or curse, or
Yeah,
is it just CB's wrong every single time?
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna divert this one because I was told by a couple of feudal captains that if they played this map, so this is like big bragging here, but if the feudal teams played this map, they said it would be like a win for the attack, no doubt, because they would be out rotating the defender on this map. I'm really curious how you do that now, because so far I have been seeing very strong and solid defenses here, and I'm not even sure how to counter this.
With a lot of fake pushes and big rotation and fast rotation,
Yeah, probably.
you can. You
Maybe.
just need to get the defenders on the wrong foot and you win.
Yeah, that is true though. Like we saw it with Chocolate and Endgegner. Like the moment Endgegner actually gave up their position and Chocolate Goblin just like blockholed that those small staircase that lead to the final point, the game was over. So you're absolutely right. All right, there we go. PaellaOldSchool taking the first win of this match or this series. It's leading 1-0 right now. We're gonna get the overlay out of the way. Let's go over the heroes quickly. Weeds at the Team Captain, I like it, picking up the MVP here, 155 unit kills, that's insane. He was playing the Flamers, so that's probably the unit that he picked up a lot with.
Oh, look at the Shield Maidens, 51 Shield Maidens.
Oh yeah, that's
I bet it was the Shield Maidens on the tower.
Oh yeah, might be as well. Yeah, he was going there just as well. Damn. Yeah, that was looking good. The Step Bro is also doing really well. Once again, we saw them play extremely aggressive last week. That's something else. I think we saw Gladsheim's team Gumfaction actually playing a bit slower than I expected. Do you feel the same, or?
Yeah, I mean, Gumfaction. I don't know. I think that's sort of the difference between a feudal level team and a rustic level team. Those rotations on a rustic level team definitely a lot faster. We saw a few moments there, especially in the tower pushes. I think you were pointing it out yourself, when they could have pushed in here on the front side while the Flames were not in position, but they just didn't have the aggression in them to do it.
Yep, absolutely looked like it. Not that aggressive, maybe a bit rusty after so many weeks of a break, who knows, but we're gonna find out in our next game. I'm gonna send you guys back to the studio, get your pretty faces on the screen again.
Oh baby.
See if you're still there. Yep, you're still there.
Okay,
that's good. That's good. I like it. All right, that was game one, boys. We're gonna take a look at the bans for the next game as I set up the lobby. You guys can check it out and talk about it because the second game does have slightly different bans here. So let me give them for you. So this time we do have the ban for the Sifunarioi and the Falconetti. So Flamers banned, Hussars allowed, that will be the difference for the next game. So what do you make out of this?
With Sypho's banned here, it'll definitely be a much different game. You're not going to see those infantry blobs just melting the same way you did in this match, not nearly as fast at least. We're also going to have probably quite a bit more cav. Both teams still have Fjord Brachios as well as all their cav available to them. It'll be interesting to see how they push here.
Absolutely will be. What about you, Grease? What are you expecting to be different here?
I think the game will be a bit faster. The Paella is gonna do a faster rotations. I expect they push from one side, from the tower, from the side gate, and then they will instantly regroup on the front gate, and they need to get their cabin. I mean, mainly they're gonna do the same pushes they did last week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Gumfaction will be able to hold it.
Mm.
To be honest, I saw a pretty uncoordinated team tonight. I expected a bit more from them.
Yeah,
To be honest,
interesting.
but
Interesting.
we'll see. Maybe they will they will work harder on the defense.
Yep, definitely hope so. But that's the thing you're calling out. I'm also quite surprised by like how slow in a way they've been playing this match. I actually did expect the Gumfaction to be playing way more aggressive. So we'll see how they do it on their defense, because you need to be, like you said, very coordinated. We saw how patiently PaellaOldSchool was playing as well, right? That was really well done. You were mentioning as well, Greece, like how they were allowing Gumfaction to be on the point, and then only then would they fight them.
Yeah, it's practically the same strat they used last time. I mean, if as an attacker you're not very coordinated on this map, definitely the defender map. I mean, that's why maybe feudal teams gonna win the attacks here.
Yeah, might be. All right, we're gonna
and
take.
It's really good to see Gorka and Weeds there actually with a lot of their aggressive plays, flanking on the backside, especially Gorka.
Yeah, absolutely. Gorka was always in the back end.
That thing we didn't expect last week when we played Paella. The aggressiveness of some players always got them in the back, killing the specialist units, killing the Sanjis, killing the range.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, that was a big surprise.
Yeah, absolutely was. All right, I'm gonna
definitely improvement.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly run to the bathroom here, but you guys can continue to talk. The lobby's up as well. I'm just continue talking about the players that you saw, because I think there were a couple players that were really stepping up this game, and also you could actually see them. Like you said, Gorka always on the back. I also saw Weeks rotating with the Flamers a couple times quite quickly. So very curious what other players you saw as well. So I'll give you a couple minutes and then I'll be right back. You can just continue this conversation.
Yeah, no worry. Yo, Grizz, the teacher's gone. We can talk about whatever we want.
Talk about my team bombarding me with a message and
oh,
and
I'm sure
pics.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
But it was definitely interesting to see. I do like, because I've spoken to Hatter before. Sorry, Datter before. And I don't know. It's always nice to bully your friends here, as you do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There was some interesting plays for a lot of these players. You really want to see more aggression from those pushes.
Yeah,
I'm mentioning it.
I'm pretty curious how they will defend this. If they will be aggressive, if they will just step down on the final point and try to come with cav and clear them on the point, or just they gonna be aggressive and gonna defend the wall. But it's pretty risky, even if you hard defend the wall and they rotate faster than you, and you don't see it or you don't call it. It's hard to recover on the final point. So it's tricky. Definitely needs a lot of practice on this map.
Yeah, I think this map is definitely a lot different than a lot of the maps you see. It's a lot bigger than what you might encounter on a regular map. A lot more rotation needed to be done, but also a lot more attack angles to execute on.
Alright, so I'm back as well, guys.
Hey, Seabee.
Welcome. Hope you had a good conversation there. I listened to the last bit of it.
We were making fun of you.
That's good. I like it. Yeah. You can always do that.
Talking about individual players, so the CB guy, oh my god.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you face him in ranked, I mean, he's so bad. You just can't imagine. Alright, I'm gonna find out who's there too many because someone is in the lobby as well. Alright, let's get this going there.
I think I need to be moved on the...
Are you guys both on the spectator? Saki, you are, I see you.
You need to move me.
Oh, yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
Forgot about Grizz. How can you do this to the man?
Yep, there we go. Oh, and now Saki, I actually toggle active view. Yeah, alright, we're good now. Alright, I hear you guys are ready.
Oh, now Sifonario are banned. Okay, that's gonna be interesting.
Yep, exactly right. Oh, it's going to be quite different. So let's see what we're gonna get here. Alright. I'm really hoping that Gumfaction actually try to hold between B and C for at least one fight. That's my hope for tonight as well. Alright, there we go. Second game. PaellaOldSchool are on match point, boys. I hope they can not close it out because I would love to see a grasslands, but if they do, then that would be amazing as well. They'll be showing a strong performance. Gumfaction first place in their group against Paella as well, but they're on the back foot right now. They need to win this game if they want to continue the series, or they will be out after 2 games in the playoffs. That would be really sad to see. So unit selection, they are actually respawning in the front, most of them. Some in the back though from Gumfaction. So what about the units?
Actually more interested. They have a lot more Shenji on the defenders here than you otherwise would have expected. Okay. A lot of the same with limited cav, though quite a few Hussars on the attackers from Paella. Oh, and there goes Fatal.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if she's coming back, but gonna wait it out. All units were selected, so that's Gucci. We may get a restart.
He sent me a message and then he deleted it. I'm scared of what that was. Probably a threat.
It very well might be, who knows?
Yeah.
Alright. Here we go. We're gonna turn the overlay on. We might be getting a restart, will we? Who knows? So far the game will run. It's sand. We're gonna wait it out. Looks like Fatal is actually getting back, I think. Alright, Trebuchet used to destroy the conference. Always surprised to see so many teams do that actually.
Oh, they didn't send their units back. So they might try to defend here between B and C.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting difference.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are definitely. 2 sets of 40 on the side gate over, or sorry, on the supply over by B. And they're defending over on the supply, not so much on the A point itself.
Ooh, nice pickup there.
You don't want to see that. You don't want to see someone getting headshot by a ballista.
Exactly right.
Oh my god.
I like it though.
Man, this has got to be getting kind of harassed by the rest of his team now. Can't believe he died to a ballista, getting bullied. That's what my friends do to me, at least.
Well, we might be seeing another pickup here. I mean, both dual blades absolutely waiting for these step bros to climb up and then they're jumping down, ready to kill them. A lot more aggressive strat here from Gumfaction, and I'm loving it, boys.
Don't forget to stream the game.
Yeah, true. Damn, you're getting at me, man. Yeah, I was double checking. The stream is going on, so that's all good. That was actually the second match when the fatigue is hitting in.
Yeah. We were talking about it, but
yep.
No visual.
Exactly.
Okay, so
alright, so
definitely they're not gonna defend A. I see Paella getting easy on wall.
But a bit lazy though, not pushing the center tower right from the start. Alright, A is definitely going to be kept. They must have seen now. Yep.
I'm curious if they gonna be faking the push on the back supply and then come back and take the front one.
Yep.
It's gonna be interesting to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, so something that you guys were talking about, Greece and your team captain as well, Rinky, was that it's actually really hard to see where the attackers are going, right? Being a defender.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem when you defend here, because you can't see, you don't have vision on the wall, and you don't really know. I mean, you're just assuming what they're doing.
Yep.
You see, like,
An interesting push here, pushing far back. Maybe on the backside here on the tab right.
That's what we saw with the Endgegner match last week when they were also trying to hold this, but they're rotating back like you said, Greece, right now.
okay, and now they gonna rotate to the other supply.
Ooh, Gumfaction rotating hard to the center. Ooh, my game is crashing maybe. Oh, then my game is crashing, I think.
Oh no.
Are we still live? Ah.
We're still something.
You guys can still be heard, so continue talking, I would say. Stream your game through Discord. I'll make sure to get that on there as well.
Yeah, sure.
Quickly.
Yeah, you do it, Saki. I'm not.
There. Slow down the camera
I
here. Just
still figure it out with the keys from the spectator.
Oh fuck my
god. That's fair.
Yep.
Well, they do have those few units over on the far right side. I don't know. They're just kind of going left and right along the walls here. It'll be interesting to see where they actually decide to push. They're not doing it much right now.
Okay, I bet they gonna get the left supply from the.
Yeah, I can absolutely believe that. They did over-rotate here towards the right now, just a little bit. And I think that's what they are looking for them to do, though they don't have... they aren't moving nearly as fast as they have to capitalize on that. But they are getting in now just a little bit. It's going to be a slog here over on the right side. We'll keep assumed in here.
Actually, Gumfaction rotate pretty fast and block it. But they might be flanked now. Yeah, coming from the back supply. Yeah.
They are getting a single Leo in, but it's I'm not sure if they're gonna hold or. And they do get the shield maidens in from behind, and they do wipe them up on the supply, fully through. PaellaOldSchool making some plays here, and now they're just spreading out, going straight for that C point. A few of them are going straight for that B point, actually going straight for that home point as well. Oh, never mind.
Okay, Gumfaction needs to fall back on the final point now. But they're gonna be pushed now. They're gonna be pushed because they have, I don't know, a few deaths.
Absolutely. All right, camera is back. Oh man. All right, great job catching that, Saki. Thank you. So we at least got that on stream. All right, so C is being captured, B is being captured. You need to get me up to speed here. Gate closed though, so not ready to go in yet. Good delay there.
A little bit of a delay, but not a ton of units set up on either side. They have a couple of VG here, but not everything's in position. Those 40s are going in a little bit aggressively. I don't know if you want to lose those so easily.
Ooh, nice pickup from Jamshi though against Banana. Alright, so let's take a look here. Alright, so we do see double Varangian and Shenji going to that center tower, so we are getting again a defense, but it's a bit slow, I think.
Hey, they have the time now. Maybe it's not 15 minutes if they pulled back initially, but I don't know. They still have 12 and a half on their side.
Mm-hmm.
From what I see in my screen, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
From what I see in my screen, Gumfaction definitely lost more units. I don't know if it's correct, the info is correct, or...
I believe it is. I think in that first push there, it was a definite win for PaellaOldSchool. They lost a lot of their good units there, especially some cavalry as well, with the limited amounts that are in the battle. And they're not actually totally set up here on the top. I think they could push into that if they wanted to.
They have a lot of units in the tower.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see that many. They're still keeping those stacked up as well. Like so many Shenji, even the Zikallin are in there.
That's their whole team.
Yeah,
whole team, man. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just gonna do one big fight on this point. One unit of
They got
Shenji.
Liao's, Shenji, and some.
Oh,
the
javelins
Senjis.
on-
Yeah, what are they doing there? Not by Winkro. Gotta run.
Yeah.
Phalanx and Gorka are really going really aggressive for it, but looks like they might not get it. Oh, nice trap. Maybe hitting them on the retreat.
They do get
They
3 of the Shenji.
Are they going in now? Yep.
Okay, they're going in. Oh fuck. I need to see the fight inside the tower.
Yep, trying to get the fight inside the tower. Looks like so far the Fort Watcher really holding really strong from Mr. By the Fatal there. Ooh. Those Varangian doing work, man.
In behind here. But yeah, those Fort Brachio are cleaning up here with the VG, assisting them,
Nice.
doing some work here. Getting hit on the backside with a few units here as well, sort of splitting the attack of PaellaOldSchool. They are going to clean up the backside first just a little bit before maybe re-rotating over to the front. But you do have Gumfaction pushing them out and cleaning up that front. So let's see if they can get those Shenji and those Fort Brachio retreating.
Yeah,
but it seems like they're going to get out here.
He's flanking with claymores and killing the Senji actually.
Oh,
a few of them at least.
baby. Gumfaction not having a good time here on... Oh, sorry, actually, not a Gumfaction, but PaellaOldSchool not having a good time on the offense here.
Okay. That 2 Varangians killing another Senjis.
Yep. Yeah, those Shenjis are not having a good day.
Okay, now see how they take the front gate now?
Yep, exactly. This is the quick rotation here from PaellaOldSchool actually. This is the same that they did against you guys, so let's see how quickly they do it now. Yep. It's a race about who can actually get together quicker. Ooh, but I think they're usually not gonna be there. The trap might be good though. Ooh, nice hit on a couple of the Chevaliers, but not enough I think. Oof, they almost got in there. Nice call, Grease. Just not close enough. You can even see the Wing to Zars are out right now for Gumfaction. They were really feeling it there.
Yeah, I don't see them pushing in for just the time being. They still got 9 minutes left on the timer. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough match. It's still fairly even at the moment in terms of units. They really only got 1 wave left on the defense here, maybe a second defense, but a lot of their players are down to 1 unit, and they've probably still got about 2 pushes left in them on the side of PaellaOldSchool. A lot of cavalry set up here at the beginning for both sides actually.
Triple Shenji for Pella though.
I am seeing that, yeah, hiding here on the back. That'll be a nasty trap if they are caught out. Pushing up that main tower again.
Okay. Main tower, it's pretty empty. Only one unit of Varangian that are retreating at the moment. Maybe they got cut. Oh, they didn't get them. So they got the walls. Gumfaction now are really forced to step back a bit.
Yeah, Gumfaction also got two of their Shenji out still, so they definitely can make use of this high ground. Traps trying to fly in, but that's not gonna hit anything.
The only one fortress and some halberd sergeants as anti-cav from Paella. So when they gonna get on point, I'm not sure if they could hold the cav, but I'm not sure either how much cav Gumfaction have.
Yeah, I'm seeing at least a unit of 2 units of Wing to Zar and a Cataphract, so and another Wing to Zar, so there's definitely enough cav here. Yeah. Oh, 3. So I think 3 or 4 units of Wing to Zars and 2 units of Cataphract, so they'll got plenty of stuff here. Alright, again, we're taking our time here. 6 minutes. Both teams just trying to poke at each other, using the traps for the attacker and then the Shenji on the defense as well.
They're taking their time.
It is gonna explode at one point though. Rias Albedo was being too aggressive here. He was inside that center tower. Ooh.
Okay, so the main push will come from the wall.
Yep.
Come inside the tower, I think, and
Yep, they are moving down once again.
They have some cav ready on the front gate. It's the Gory and
yeah. And there's right now there's only one unit of Fortunato at that right gate. So the cav is going to move in as well. They're actually on the move now.
Interesting enough, they are pushing down with some VGs on the bottom side here, kind of getting those cleaned up a little bit for free. And they are pushing down here, engaging into the attackers here, as opposed to letting them come. A bit of a different tactic. Those Winged Stars kind of actually crashing into the wall here, not getting some good eco for those. But it does seem like the defense is winning out here, at least in the initial engagement. A lot of those Fort Rocky either not in position or getting run over by Winged Hussars here. That's always good to see for the Winged Hussars. Up on the top walls, the Shenji getting cleaned up just a little bit. I think that push is sort of collapsed here.
Yeah, this push looks very much destroyed. Guis, what were you seeing there?
Yeah, I might be wrong, and Gumfaction actually defend this.
Yeah, it does look like it so far. It was definitely a coordinated push though, like the double cav came in from that right gate at the same time, but they were met by Fortunato and another cav unit as well. I think it was Chevaliers that countered those. And the center push just couldn't hold there. You mentioned it, Saki, the Fortunato not placed at the right time a couple of moments in the battle.
Yeah, I mean, at least for pushing in here, a lot of players without units, though it seems that both sides have quite a few injured high-level units. A few heroes, none left in them, so we'll see a lot of dives for those specialty and ranged units, I'm sure. But in terms of the actual infantry on the ground here, it's probably going to be in favor of the attackers here, in favor of PaellaOldSchool. A lot of the defending units here very, very injured. Though if they can get a concentrated hit on the front side here, they might be able to break through.
Oh, they're pushing the front.
They're actually gonna do it. Yep.
Fort Brachio set up fairly far in the back. Interesting. Oh, those aren't Fjord Brockie, those are Pike Militia. What the hell?
Yeah, Pike Militia.
Yeah, they're really trying to use that corner there for their Zikalin. Or their Shinji. Oof. Ooh, nice Claymore charge in the back though. Yep.
Excellent Claymore charge. You see those Mauls diving in to take out that range, getting sort of interrupted here. And now they're starting to get in the cab. We'll see the counter cap coming down from both sides. The trap being fired off, but just a little bit too late. The Winged Hussars crashing through the front side, but getting held up at the front. Stopped by quite a few of those 40s. Another Hussar charge getting cleaned up here. It's gonna be a slog here at the end. It's gonna be hero on hero action. We're not sure who's gonna win here.
Well, it looks like Paella is definitely getting the units here.
Attackers.
Yeah. Still more down for the watch your left, so they can close this point with our charge as well. I think this might be it, yep. Unless
they be able
Gumfaction
to
can come
dance on point for the remaining 2 minutes here is the question. I think they're hoping to do so, but it's gonna be a tough battle regardless. Yeah, you already see the...
I don't think they can hold it, man.
No, it's not gonna be easy in the least.
The timers are still 30 seconds for most of the Gumfaction team. They are definitely delaying for quite a long time, and I think there's still a couple of units, only 100 units left, so I'm not even sure if there's any cav. There's only shield maidens, I think. Malta are trying to get in there with for the Watcher, but that's not nearly enough. They need to delay for 1 minute 30 though. If they can,
it's hard,
but it's going to be extremely hard.
Nearly impossible to.
Short swords only. They are definitely going to try. Look at them.
And they're queuing up their runs in here, trying to block them off.
They are definitely trying. 1 minute 5 left on the clock. They're doing it one by one. There's not that many units from PaellaOldSchool as well, so
they're more than enough to.
There's quite a few units. The point's getting capped here, but they have delayed it at least 15 more seconds.
Yeah, here comes by the Fatal with a shield maidens though, maybe.
Some shield maidens, but this Matka then he'll gonna die.
They're getting quite a few hero respawns here.
One more.
30 more seconds on the clock just to hold out here. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna come down
30 seconds.
Definitely to the wire. I don't know, 25 seconds.
There
not,
we go.
Getting it out here.
Well, PaellaOldSchool are your first finalists. There we go.
Weeds MVP again.
Oh, well, Greasio got saved at the last minute there. Literally. PaellaOldSchool actually taking it 2-0 against Gumfaction. Definitely surprising me, and I think many others as well, because the vote was in favor of Gumfaction at the start of the fight.
Yeah, but the quality of the units they had on the last push,
yeah.
I mean, they had Pike Militia and a lot of units were injured.
Really strong here. So Paella is going to make it to the finals. Gumfaction is going to have to fight for third place against the loser from our next match next week. This means that Paella is guaranteed Feudal Division next season, so that will be really exciting. I think this team is showing up so strong. Weeds once again picking up the MVP, by the way, 115. Their team captain is popping off this match, absolutely doing amazing. Then the Step Bros once again all in the top 4, so that's amazing as well on their side. Well, I still can't believe how strong they pushed that final fight. What happened there, boys?
In the very final fight?
Yeah, that very final fight, yep.
A lot of injured units from the defenders. They only had like half a unit of 40s, stuff like that. Half a unit of shield maidens left. Then they lost a lot of those early engagements, which really hurt them later on in the fight here, I think.
Yep. Oof. Yeah, we could see the first fight definitely went to Paella. It was inside the city. You guys were mentioning it. Looked like Gumfaction just lost way more. And then the second fights were pretty close. But the last one, and as we saw, and you guys mentioned it as well, really in favor of...
maybe, just maybe,
Mm-hmm.
if Gumfaction didn't try to defend between B and C, maybe they could... They could win on defense.
Yeah,
I think they lost a little bit more units on the first push, and that's why they didn't keep up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could have been. I mean, still, I feel like Paella just played way more aggressive this whole series. They were continually trying to get into that right side as well. always trying to find flanks on this map.